I remember the streets like they were my own backyard, every alleyway and corner a familiar haunt. The city was my home, but it was a cruel mistress. One day she'd provide, the next she'd take away. I learned to live with the uncertainty, to adapt to the constant struggle. As a homeless teen, every day was a fight for survival. I'd wake up before dawn, huddled in some abandoned doorway or beneath a bridge, the chill of the night still clinging to my bones. The first thought on my mind was always food. Where would I find it? How would I get it? Sometimes I'd scrounge around in trash cans, other times I'd try my luck at a local soup kitchen or shelter. But the lines were always long and the food was never enough. The streets were a dangerous place, especially for a kid like me. I had to be constantly on the lookout for predators, the kind who'd take advantage of a vulnerable soul like mine. I saw things no kid should ever have to see, the violence, the drugs, the desperation. It was a never-ending cycle, and I was just trying to stay alive. But even in the midst of all that chaos, there were moments of beauty. A sunrise over the rooftops, a kind word from a stranger, a hot meal on a cold night. Those were the things that kept me going, that gave me the strength to face another day. I remember one night in particular, I was walking down a deserted street, feeling like I was at rock bottom. I had no food, no shelter, and no hope. But then I saw a guy playing guitar on the corner, his music echoing off the buildings. It was like nothing I'd ever heard before. It was like he was singing directly to my soul. For a moment, I forgot about all my troubles and I just listened. And in that moment, something sparked inside me. I realized that I didn't have to be defined by my circumstances, that I had the power to change my own story. It was a small spark, but it was enough to keep me going. And as I walked away from that street corner, I knew that I had a long way to go, but I also knew that I wasn't alone. There were people out there who cared, who wanted to help, and who believed in me. And that's what kept me moving forward, one step at a time. As I walked down the desolate street, the cold wind whipping my face, I couldn't help but feel like I'd hit rock bottom. The desperation was suffocating, and I wondered if I'd ever find a way out of this endless cycle of poverty and homelessness. But then, like a beacon of light in the darkness, I saw her, a kind-faced stranger with a warm smile, holding out a steaming hot cup of coffee and a sandwich. She introduced herself as Sarah, and her gentle voice was like music to my ears. At first, I was wary, having been burned before by people who promised the world but delivered nothing. But there was something about Sarah that put me at ease. She didn't ask me any questions or try to preach to me. She simply offered me food and shelter for the night. I hesitated for a moment, but the prospect of a warm meal and a roof over my head was too enticing to resist. I followed her to a small, unassuming building a few blocks away, which turned out to be a local shelter for homeless youth. As we walked in, I was struck by the cozy atmosphere and the friendly faces of the staff. They showed me to a comfortable room with a soft bed, and I felt a sense of relief wash over me. For the first time in months, I felt like I could finally relax, like I was safe. Sarah introduced me to the shelter's director, a kind-hearted woman named Miss Johnson, who explained that they offered a range of services, from food and shelter to counseling and job training. I was amazed. I had no idea such resources existed. Over the next few days, I settled into the shelter's routine, and for the first time in a long time, I started to feel a glimmer of hope. The staff were supportive and encouraging, and the other residents were friendly and understanding. I began to see that I wasn't alone, that there were people who cared and wanted to help. Sarah, in particular, became a source of comfort and guidance, and I found myself looking forward to our daily conversations. As I started to explore the shelter's resources, I realized that there was a way out of my situation. I could get an education, find a job, and build a better life for myself. The prospect was both exhilarating and terrifying. I had no idea where to start, and the fear of failure was daunting. But with the shelter's support and Sarah's encouragement, I felt like I could finally take the first steps towards a brighter future. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of an incredible journey, one that would take me to heights I never thought possible. As I walked into the small cafe, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the sound of gentle chatter filled the air, a stark contrast to the harsh realities of the streets I had grown accustomed to. It was my first day of work, and I was determined to make a good impression. The kind stranger who had taken me under their wing had helped me land this job, and I was grateful for the opportunity to start anew. My new boss, a warm and kind-hearted woman named Sarah, showed me to the back room where I would be working as a dishwasher. The kitchen was small, but it was spotless, and I could tell that everyone took pride in their work. As I put on my uniform and began to scrub the dishes, I felt a sense of purpose wash over me. It was a simple task, but it was mine, and I was determined to do it to the best of my ability. As the days turned into weeks, I started to settle into my new routine. I would wake up early, grab a quick breakfast, and head to work. The cafe was a bustling hub of activity, and I loved the energy of the place. I started to feel like I was a part of something, like I belonged. The staff was friendly and welcoming, and they made me feel like I was one of them. But it wasn't just the job that was helping me to rebuild my sense of self-worth. I had also started attending classes at a local community center, where I was learning new skills and meeting new people. My teacher, a wise and compassionate woman named Miss Johnson, took a particular interest in me. She saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, and she encouraged me to pursue my dreams. Miss Johnson became a mentor to me, guiding me through the ups and downs of life. She taught me about perseverance, about hard work, and about the importance of never giving up. She introduced me to new ideas and new perspectives, and she helped me to see the world in a different light. With her guidance, I started to feel like I could overcome anything, like I was capable of achieving greatness. As I looked in the mirror one day, I barely recognized the person staring back at me. My eyes were brighter, my smile was wider, and my posture was stronger. I felt like I was standing taller, like I was walking on air. I knew that I still had a long way to go, but for the first time in my life, I felt like I was on the right path. I was turning my life around, and I was excited to see what the future held. But little did I know, challenges were just around the corner, waiting to test my resolve and push me to my limits. As I sat in my small, cluttered apartment, I couldn't help but feel a sense of restlessness. I had finally found a sense of stability after being homeless for so long, but I knew I couldn't stay stuck in a dead-end job forever. I had always been fascinated by the world of business, and I spent countless hours reading books and watching documentaries on entrepreneurship. I knew it was a risk, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was meant to do something more. One day, while browsing online, I stumbled upon an article about a successful entrepreneur who had started their business from scratch. Something about their story resonated with me, and I felt a spark of inspiration ignite within me. I began to brainstorm ideas for my own business, pouring all my energy into researching and planning. I spent long hours at the local library, devouring books on marketing, finance, and management. I even took online courses to learn new skills and gain a deeper understanding of the business world. As I delved deeper into my research, I started to develop a business plan for a small, eco-friendly cleaning products company. I was passionate about sustainability and saw an opportunity to create products that would not only be good for the environment, but also provide a unique selling point in a crowded market. I spent months perfecting my recipes, testing different ingredients, and refining my manufacturing process. But, as with any new venture, I faced my fair share of setbacks and failures. I remember one particularly disastrous batch of products that ended up being too harsh on surfaces. I had to start from scratch, reworking my recipes and retesting my products. It was frustrating, but I refused to give up. Instead, I used each failure as an opportunity to learn and improve. It was during this time that I met my business partner, Alex. We met at a networking event, and I was immediately drawn to their passion and expertise in the field of sustainability. They had a wealth of knowledge and experience, and I was impressed by their innovative approach to business. We struck up a conversation, and before I knew it, we were discussing a potential partnership. Alex was eager to invest in my company, and I was hesitant at first, but their enthusiasm and confidence in my product were infectious. With Alex on board, we were able to take my small business to the next level. We secured a small loan, rented a business premises, and started production on a larger scale. It wasn't easy, of course. There were long hours, sleepless nights, and moments of sheer panic. But through it all, Alex was a rock, offering guidance and support whenever I needed it. As we worked tirelessly to build our business, I began to realize that entrepreneurship wasn't just about making money. It was about creating something from scratch, taking risks, and pushing myself to the limit. It was about resilience, adaptability, and perseverance. And with Alex by my side, I felt like I could conquer the world. Little did I know, our journey was only just beginning, and the real challenges were yet to come. But for now, I was excited to see where this newfound entrepreneurial spirit would take me. As I stood on the stage, holding my award for Entrepreneur of the Year, I couldn't help but think back to the days when I was just a homeless teen, struggling to survive. It was a moment of pure surrealism, a testament to how far I'd come. The bright lights, the applause, and the sea of faces all blurred together as I gazed out at the crowd, my mind racing with the journey that had brought me here. My business had taken off, expanding in ways I never thought possible. I was now a recognized figure in my industry, known for my innovative approach and determination. The awards and recognition were just the beginning. I was invited to speak at industry events, attend exclusive conferences, and even received offers to partner with other successful companies. But with success comes new challenges. I found myself facing scrutiny from all angles, with every move I made under a microscope. The pressure to constantly perform, to innovate, and to stay ahead of the curve was suffocating at times. I had to learn to navigate the complexities of my newfound fame, all while keeping my feet grounded and my focus on the goals that had driven me from the start. I remember walking into a crowded room, filled with industry peers and admirers, and feeling like an imposter. Who was I to be receiving all this attention? The doubts crept in, whispering that I wasn't good enough, that it was all just a fluke. But then I'd look out at the crowd, see the faces of those who believed in me, and remember the struggles I'd overcome. I'd take a deep breath, square my shoulders, and own the moment. The awards ceremonies were a whirlwind of glamour and excitement, but also a reminder that there was still so much work to be done. I'd look around at the other attendees, see the fire in their eyes, and know that I was part of something bigger than myself. We were all striving for greatness, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. And yet, as I basked in the glory of my success, I couldn't shake the feeling that a new challenge was just on the horizon. Something that would test my mettle, push me to my limits, and force me to adapt in ways I never thought possible. I felt it in my bones, a thrill of anticipation mixed with a hint of fear. What would it be? How would I face it? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: I was ready. Bring it on, I thought, a smile spreading across my face as I raised my award in triumph. As I sat in my luxurious office, surrounded by the opulent decor and the breathtaking view of the city skyline, I couldn't help but think about the journey that had brought me here. From being a homeless teen, scavenging for food and shelter, to owning my first private jet, my life had taken a dramatic turn. But with success comes responsibility, and I had been feeling an insatiable urge to give back to the community that had helped shape me into the person I am today. I decided to start a foundation dedicated to helping homeless youth get back on their feet. I poured my heart and soul into the project, assembling a team of dedicated staff who shared my vision. We worked tirelessly to create programs and initiatives that would provide support, guidance, and resources to those in need. I remembered the struggles I had faced, the feelings of hunger, fear, and desperation, and I was determined to make a difference. As the foundation began to take shape, I became increasingly involved in philanthropic efforts. I attended charity events, donated to relevant causes, and used my platform to raise awareness about the issues that mattered most to me. It was incredible to see the impact that our work was having, the lives we were changing, and the hope we were restoring. I met incredible people along the way, individuals who had been through similar struggles and had come out on top. Their stories inspired me, motivated me, and reminded me of the importance of our mission. The Foundation's offices quickly became a hub of activity, bustling with energy and purpose. We had a team of dedicated staff, each with their own unique story and passion for helping others. There was Sarah, our program director, who had spent years working with at-risk youth. Jake, our fundraising manager, who had a talent for securing grants and donations. And Maria, our outreach coordinator, who had a gift for connecting with the community. Together, we worked tirelessly to create a supportive network, providing everything from food and shelter to education and job training. As I looked out at the city, I felt a sense of pride and fulfillment. I had come a long way, but I knew that this was just the beginning. There were still challenges to overcome, obstacles to navigate, and lessons to learn. But I was ready, armed with a deep sense of purpose and a commitment to making a difference. The question was, how would my philanthropic efforts continue to evolve, and what impact would they have on the community I cared about so deeply? I still remember the feeling of walking into that luxury car showroom, surrounded by sleek designs and the hum of sophistication. The salesperson, dressed in a tailored suit, greeted me with a warm smile and asked how he could assist me. I had never felt so out of place, yet so drawn to the opulence that surrounded me. As I test drove my first luxury car, The rush of adrenaline and the thrill of owning something so exclusive was exhilarating. The soft leather seats, the purring engine, and the envy-inducing glances from passers-by all contributed to an intoxicating sense of pride and accomplishment. As I delved deeper into the world of luxury, I found myself traveling to destinations I had only ever dreamed of. From the crystal-clear waters of the Maldives to the snow-capped mountains of Switzerland, each new experience was a sensory overload in the best possible way. I met fellow travelers who shared my passion for exploration and indulgence, and together we created unforgettable memories. We would often talk about our next adventure, and the possibilities seemed endless. It was on one of these trips that I was introduced to the concept of private aviation. A friend had chartered a private jet for a weekend getaway, and I was invited to join. As we soared through the skies, sipping champagne and enjoying the breathtaking views, I felt like I was on top of the world. The freedom and flexibility that came with private aviation were truly addictive. I could go wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted, without the hassle and stress of commercial air travel. As I reflect on that experience, I realize that it sparked a desire in me to own my own private jet. The thought of being able to travel in style and comfort, without the constraints of commercial air travel, was tantalizing. I began to research and learn more about private aviation, from the different types of aircraft to the logistics of maintenance and operation. And then the moment of truth arrived. I decided to take the plunge and buy my own private jet. The thrill of owning such a luxurious asset was overwhelming, and I couldn't wait to see where it would take me. As I stood on the sun-kissed tarmac, the warm breeze carrying the scent of freshly cut grass and jet fuel, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. Before me, a sleek and shimmering private jet gleamed in the bright light, its metallic surface adorned with the logo of my company. This was my new reality, a life I had dreamed of but never thought possible. Just a few years ago, I was a homeless teen, scrounging for scraps and fighting to survive. Now I was the owner of a private jet, a symbol of my success and freedom. I had spent weeks researching and selecting the perfect aircraft, poring over specs and features, weighing the pros and cons of each model. I had met with aviation experts and jet brokers, learning about the intricacies of private aviation and the luxury travel experience. I had walked through jet showrooms, marveling at the opulent interiors and state-of-the-art technology. And finally, I had found the one, a stunning Gulfstream G650ER, with its spacious cabin, advanced avionics, and unmatched performance. The process of purchasing and customizing the jet had been a thrilling adventure in itself. I had worked with a team of experts to design the perfect interior, complete with plush leather seats, exquisite wood accents, and cutting-edge entertainment systems. I had selected the finest materials and finishes, ensuring that every detail reflected my personal style and taste. And as I stepped aboard, I felt a sense of pride and ownership, knowing that this jet was truly mine. As I settled into the cockpit, my heart racing with excitement, I felt a sense of freedom I had never known before. This was more than just a machine. It was a key to a world of limitless possibilities, a ticket to explore the globe in style and luxury. I thought back to my days on the streets, the struggles and hardships, the doubts and fears. And I realized that this jet was my ticket to redemption, a symbol of my triumph over adversity. With the engines roaring to life, I taxied down the runway, feeling the rush of adrenaline as the jet lifted off the ground. The world fell away beneath me, a breathtaking panorama of blue skies and patchwork fields. I soared into the unknown, the wind whipping through my hair, my heart full of joy and wonder. This was what it meant to be free, to have the world at my feet, to explore the unknown, to live life on my own terms. As I cruised at 40,000 feet, the sun dipping below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the landscape, I felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over me. This was my new reality, a life of luxury and adventure, of freedom and joy. And as I gazed out at the endless expanse of sky, I knew that this was just the beginning, the first chapter in a story of limitless possibilities, of adventure and discovery, of living life to the fullest. The question was, what would my first experience be like, flying on my new private jet, and how would it change my life forever? As I soar through the skies, sipping champagne and savoring the finer things in life, I often find myself lost in thought, reflecting on the journey that brought me here. The feeling of weightlessness, of freedom, is still surreal, like a dream I never want to wake up from. I glance out the window, watching the clouds drift lazily by, and think about how far I've come. From the streets to the skies, My life has been a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience and determination. I remember the first time I stepped onto my private jet, feeling like a kid in a candy store, eyes wide with wonder. The soft leather seats, the polished wood accents, the gentle hum of the engines. It was all so foreign, yet so intoxicating. And the flight attendants, with their warm smiles and impeccable service, made me feel like royalty. They'd offer me refreshments, ask about my preferences, and cater to my every whim. It was a level of luxury I'd only ever seen in movies. As I travel to exotic destinations, I'm constantly reminded of the beauty and diversity of our world. From the snow-capped mountains of Switzerland to the sun-kissed beaches of Bali, each place has its own unique charm, its own story to tell. And I feel grateful, truly grateful to be able to experience it all. The people I meet, the fellow passengers who become fast friends, they all have their own stories, their own struggles and triumphs. We share laughter, tears, and advice, forming bonds that transcend borders and backgrounds. But as I bask in the glory of my success, I'm also mindful of the concept of gratitude. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle, to forget where I came from and what I've been through. So I make a conscious effort to appreciate the little things, to pause and reflect on the journey that brought me here. I think about the struggles, the setbacks, and the moments of doubt. I think about the people who helped me along the way, who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Mindfulness, I've learned, is key. It's about being present in the moment, about soaking up the beauty and wonder of life. As I fly through the skies, I feel a sense of peace wash over me, a sense of contentment. I know that I've worked hard to get here, that I've earned this life. But I also know that it's not just about me, it's about the people I've met, the experiences I've had, and the lessons I've learned. As I look back on my journey, I realize that the most important lesson I've learned is the value of gratitude and appreciation. It's not just about achieving success. It's about appreciating the journey, the people, and the experiences that make life worth living. And as I soar through the skies, I know that I'll carry this lesson with me, always, no matter where life takes me next. As I stand in my lavish office, surrounded by the opulent decor and the breathtaking view of the city skyline, I am taken back to the days when I had nothing but a small backpack and the clothes on my back. It's hard to believe that it's been years since I was a homeless teen, struggling to find my next meal or a safe place to sleep. But here I am, a testament to the power of perseverance and determination, with my first private jet parked outside, ready to take me to my next destination. My mind begins to wander, thinking about the people and experiences that have shaped my life. I think about my family, who, despite their own struggles, always managed to provide me with love and support. I think about my friends who stood by me through thick and thin, and my mentors who guided me and helped me to believe in myself. I think about the struggles I faced, the nights I spent on the streets, and the days I spent searching for a job or a place to call my own. But I also think about the moments of joy, the times when I felt like I was on top of the world. I think about the first time I landed a job, the first time I paid my own rent, and the first time I felt like I was truly independent. And now, as I look around my office, I am reminded of just how far I've come. I've got a beautiful home, a successful career, and a private jet to take me wherever I want to go. As I reflect on my journey, I start to think about the concept of legacy. What will I leave behind when I'm gone? Will it be a trail of wealth and success, or will it be something more meaningful? I think about the people who helped me along the way, and I realize that I want to give back, to make a difference in the lives of others. I want to use my success to create a positive impact, to leave a lasting legacy that will outlive me. I start to think about the ways I can give back, about the charities I can support, the causes I can get behind, and the people I can help. I think about my childhood haunts, the places where I grew up, and the people who are still struggling to make ends meet. I think about how I can use my resources to make a difference in those communities, to provide opportunities and support to those who need it most. As I sit here, thinking about my life and my legacy, I am filled with a sense of closure. I know that I've come full circle, that I've made it through the struggles and come out on top. But I also know that my journey is far from over. I've got a new chapter to write, one that will be filled with purpose and meaning. And as I look out at the city, I know that I'm ready for whatever comes next, ready to take on the world and make my mark.